What's going on, socialites? It's your boy Asa Taylor from the Social Gray School, back with another video, and this one's going to be a banger because today we're talking about black men and white women. Why do black men date outside their race? What is the appeal of white women, and so on and so forth. Now, this conversation has been had ad nauseum, but most people are not grasping the real reason why people date outside of their race and why people tend to go for people outside of the race, not just white women, but Latinas and Asians and everything in between. Now, just start off, let me just say this. If you grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, the suburbs, going to private school like I did, there's not many choices of black women, right? And so the most beautiful women that you're going to see are going to be white women. They're going to be Latinas and they're going to be Asian. So we have a different upbringing and a different kind of background than regular, I would say, black people, but I'm not black, but let's just go with that, than regular black people, right? So black people have this undying loyalty towards other black people, and how I see it from the outside looking in, these women were never our women to begin with. So why are we even trying to fit that narrative and fit that mold? If you know anything about history, you know who these women belong to. Now, that's a different conversation for a different day. Now, when we're talking about like athletes, for instance, RG3 was on a podcast and Ryan Clark was talking about him and his white wife, right? And so he was throwing ad hominem attacks and kind of like subliminal messages to RG3, saying that he basically doesn't understand black women and what they go through, even though RG3 has black daughters. Like, yes, he's married to a white woman, but that does not mean we know exactly what he's teaching them inside the household.
The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what black women have to endure in this country, about what young black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom.
That being said, I think it was important to make that distinction at first, just to kind of preface this conversation, because people always underestimate what type of guys that are out there. There are guys from the suburbs, there are guys from the country, there are guys who grew up in an environment where they don't necessarily have black women there, but that doesn't mean they're any less black. It just means they prefer different types of women. Now, when it comes to people who come from the hood that make it through the NBA, NFL, let's just say even the Canadian football leagues as well, they tend to shy away from black women as well because they don't like the drama that comes with them. See, if you grew up like I did in the suburbs, you already know that you have an identity crisis, kind of, and people don't accept you on either side of the spectrum, whether it's the black people or the white people. You're too white, you're too black for the white people, and you're too white for the black people, excuse me. And so you kind of are stuck in the middle. So what are some of the qualities that white women have that are just more attractive in general to black men like myself and people who are striving for more and who actually know what they want? Well, number one, peace of mind. If we're going out, we're fighting the world, and you're working 70 plus hours, 80 plus hours a week like myself, when I come home, I don't want to have to fight with you. And see, one thing that black women do that they're very good at, they claim to be independent. They claim to not need a man, right? And even if you're lying to me and emotionally manipulating me, please lie to me. I don't know how to explain this and stress this enough. Please lie to me, because if you lie to me, then I know I have some type of worth to you. And as a man, we're supposed to work and provide for a family. Like, historically and biblically, if you're into that, women have never necessarily had their own. They weren't made that way. They were made to seek out the man with the most resources possible. Now, with that being said, if I am that guy and a woman decides to choose me and she puts up with my shit and I put up with her shit, I don't want to come home and have to convince her to do the dishes or to take care of the kids or to do anything like that. And one thing that we know about white women, they play the long game. So number one, that's going to be peace. Number two, they're actually ready to get married at a younger age. So I, along with a bunch of other guys who actually know what they want, who are striving towards a goal, we want youth and fertility. That's the most important thing to us. And what do black women offer to black men who are going down this path? Well, not youth and fertility. Most people, most black women are concerned of living their best life, most black women are concerned with not necessarily settling down, because it's not in their culture. Most white women come from a two-parent household. They come from the suburbs. They're used to living in the house. They're used to having things done and given to them for just existing. And that's the type of world that I came up in, and that's the type of world I want to create if I do have daughters. And so if whoever allows me to do that, I'm probably going to take them, just like I know a lot of athletes are going to take them as well. Now, I don't know if you guys saw that picture of the New York Knicks Christmas party a few years ago, and everyone but one person had a white woman or Latina or Asian. And that's for good reason, okay? Because they understand the value that that man brings. Now, the likelihood of them divorcing is high, extremely high, because athletes, only 9% of marriages survive an athlete marriage, you know, whether you're in the NBA or NFL. Now, that being said, and keep that in mind, I think that as a people, we're just so far disconnected from each other that we're both on two different playing fields. Women want one thing and the men want another thing, okay? And so I can just definitively agree that most black men are not like me, okay? And that's okay, you know? But for the people that are like me, this is who I'm speaking to. If you want to be successful long term, and if you want a good, healthy environment for your family to live in, and you grew up in a suburban neighborhood, in a suburban household where both mom and dad was in that household, there's like an 80% chance that you're going to be divorced from a black woman. Most married, least married, and most divorced. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to get on my high horse and say these women are better than these women, because there's always trade-offs. But here at the Social Grace School, we always want to strive to do the best. We always want to thrive in our environment, and the best person that gives us the chance to do that is white women, is Asian women, is Latinas. And some of these guys are also actually going overseas and finding their wives and bringing them back. But, you know, that's a different story for a different day. I don't necessarily totally agree with that. But the point still remains that as we start to grow and as we still get to be more successful, the women that are in our pool that have the same mindset and that want to go where we're going are not going to be black. And if they are, they're going to be older, 32, 33, 34, and they're looking for a Hail Mary. I'm not looking for that. I'm not into that. I'd much rather somebody different, somebody younger, someone who's already on the path to doing what they need to do for their family and for their man. I don't want to have to fight with you, like I said before. I don't want to have to come home and then you're berating me because I didn't do the dishes or I'm working too long of an hours. Like, if you've ever owned your own business, if you've ever worked for yourself, you know you're gonna pull like 16 to 18 hour days, and you're only gonna sleep 3 to 4 hours, maybe even less. I think I saw this channel when some gentleman was talking about he only slept for 30 minutes when he was getting his restaurant up and running. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Now, in today's modern world, where the modernization of technology and the women has come full court and throughout full 360, I think it's even hard to maintain this relationship unless you're already made. So a lot of these guys, they're waiting until they already have money, like these NBA players, like these NFL players. They already have money, and then they're going out into the field and saying, okay, I need somebody great to hold me down. And I think that's the appropriate way to do things, because again, if you read my book, I mentioned how this is what we were taught in there. And this is kind of like the mindset that was imparted on us by not only my father, but my mother as well, because we understand that life is not free. And if we understand this simple concept, things would start to go our way a little bit more. But anyways, tell me what you guys think. What do you guys think about the content? Do you guys agree that more black men should date more white women? And then here at the Social Grace School, you know, what do you think about the mindset that we have as far as bettering yourself and find the right match for you? And most of the time, that's not black women. And of course, that is just my opinion, also coupled with a little bit of an experience as well. And I'm only 29, so there's still a lot that I need to know. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another video. Peace.